You know what hurts more than a breakup? It's realizing that the person you've been sacrificing for, the person you thought was building a future with you, might actually be mocking you behind your back. That's exactly what happened to me. I was working late one Friday night, exhausted, hungry, just trying to make it through another shift to save money for a better apartment for me and my girlfriend. And while I was busting my back at work, she was on Instagram posting something that made my stomach sink. A black screen. White text. And these exact words: "Some men think they're irreplaceable." At first I thought, nah, maybe it's just one of those random quotes people post without thinking. But then I saw the laughing emojis. Not just one. Multiple. Like she was mocking. Like she was sending a message. And in that moment, I froze. Because here's the thing, I wasn't some lazy boyfriend. I wasn't someone taking her for granted. I was literally working late nights to make our lives better. Meanwhile, she was out with friends, posting things that felt like digs at me. But here's the kicker. That wasn't even the worst part. Because when I scrolled down, when I saw the comment she left under one of her friends' replies, that's when everything changed. And trust me, what happened next will make you question whether you can ever really trust someone who laughs at your expense online. But before I get into all of that, let me slow down for a second. Because this story, my story, isn't just about one bad Instagram post. It's about respect, betrayal, and the moment I realized the girl I thought was my forever might not actually see me that way. And let's be real, what would you do if your partner posted something like that while you were working hard for both of you? Would you brush it off as a joke? Or would you start asking the tough questions? Because that's exactly what I had to do. Now, before we dive in deeper, let me just say this. This story took a lot of work to bring to life for you. I had to sit with it, relive some painful memories, and share details I never thought I'd put out there. So if you enjoy hearing these wild Reddit-style stories, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps keep me motivated to share more with you. And with that, let's start at the beginning, so let me back it up for you. Kayla and I had been together for almost 3 years. We met back in college, and from day one she was magnetic. The kind of person who could walk into a crowded room and have every head turn without even trying. Loud laugh, sharp wit, endless energy. She was that girl everyone wanted to know. Me? I was quieter. More focused. I worked hard, kept my circle small, and honestly, I thought I was lucky just to catch her attention. And somehow, we clicked. At first, it was study sessions that turned into coffee dates. Coffee dates that turned into late-night calls. Calls that turned into staying over, waking up together, and realizing we didn't want to be apart. By the time we made it official, I thought I had won the jackpot. She wasn't just pretty, she was ambitious, sarcastic in a way that kept me laughing, and bold enough to challenge me. For years, I thought, this is my person. I'll marry this girl one day. That's why her Instagram post cut so deep. It wasn't just random words. It felt personal. You see, lately, our schedules had been opposite. She worked a regular 9 to 5. I was on late shifts, grinding overtime, saving for a down payment on a better apartment for us. We weren't seeing each other as much, but I thought she understood. I thought she respected what I was doing for our future. But that night, seeing her post "Some men think they're irreplaceable" while I was sitting in a break room, covered in sweat and exhaustion, it didn't feel like she respected me at all. And then came the second blow. She had also posted a selfie out at a bar with her friends. Stunning as always. Dozens of comments. But one stood out. A guy friend of hers dropped, "Queen, any man who loses you is a fool." Now, if she had just liked it? Fine. Whatever. But no, she replied with, "Exactly." Imagine being me in that moment. You're working your ass off for both of you, and your girlfriend is out publicly laughing along with a guy basically saying she's too good for you. Sat there staring at my phone, and the overthinking started spiraling. Had I been missing red flags? Was she pulling away? Or worse, was she testing the waters with someone else? When I got home that night, she was asleep. I just lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, replaying everything in my head. The nights she had been out late with friends. The times she seemed glued to her phone, grinning at messages she never explained. The way she rolled her eyes when I talked about my long shifts. The next morning, I couldn't hold it in anymore. Over breakfast, I asked her, casually I thought, about the post. She didn't even flinch. "Oh, that? It's just a joke. Don't take everything so seriously." But it didn't feel like a joke. Not when she'd added laughing emojis. Not when she responded exactly to another man's comment, so I pushed a little. I told her it bothered me, that it felt disrespectful. And do you know what she said? She looked me dead in the eye and said, "You're being insecure. If you know your worth, why are you worried about a random post?" That cut deeper than anything. Because I do know my worth. And part of that worth is knowing I deserve a partner who doesn't humiliate me in front of the entire internet. But she brushed it off, laughed, moved on. And suddenly, I was the sensitive boyfriend who couldn't take a joke. From that point forward, things shifted. I couldn't look at her without thinking of that post. She couldn't look at me without accusing me of being too sensitive. She started staying out later. Notifications on her phone popped up more often. And each time, I couldn't shake the sinking feeling that her social media posts weren't jokes, they were warning signs. And just when I thought I might be overthinking, she dropped another one. Another Instagram story. Another cryptic post. This time it read, "Ladies, remember, if he won't do it, someone else will winking face." That was the moment I knew this wasn't random. This was targeted. Intentional. She was taking shots at me while the whole world watched. Now, if you were in my shoes, what would you do? Because in my case, things were just about to get a whole lot worse. After that second post, the one that said, "Ladies, remember, if he won't do it, someone else will winking face," I couldn't keep pretending it was just jokes. Come on. 2 posts, back to back, both throwing shade at men. Both while I was working overnight shifts to keep us afloat. That wasn't coincidence. That was a message, so the next time we sat down together, I didn't tiptoe around it. I brought it up directly. "Kayla," I said, trying to keep my voice calm, "what are these posts supposed to mean? Are they about me?" She looked up from her phone, barely. Rolled her eyes. "You're still on that? It's not that deep. You're acting paranoid." But I wasn't paranoid. I laid it out for her. How humiliating it felt to see her laughing at comments from other guys online. How it seemed like she was publicly hinting that I wasn't good enough. How I was starting to feel like the butt of her jokes instead of her partner. You know what she said? She smirked. And said, "Well, if the shoe fits." That moment right there? That was the first time I felt pure anger toward her. Not just hurt, not just confusion, anger. Because what kind of partner sees you hurting and doubles down instead of trying to understand? The argument escalated fast. She accused me of being controlling, of trying to police her social media, of not trusting her. And I snapped. "Kayla, it's not about control, it's about respect. I don't care if you post selfies. I don't care if your friends hype you up. But when you're replying to guys with exactly face with tears of joy about how lucky any man would be to have you, while I'm out here killing myself for us, that's not respect." She went quiet for a second. I thought maybe I'd finally gotten through to her. But then she laughed and said, "You're so dramatic. No one even cares that much. It's just Instagram." That's when it hit me. She didn't care how it made me feel. She cared about how it made her look. And after that fight, things only spiraled. She started staying out later with her friends, not even bothering to tell me where she was going. When I'd ask, she'd snap, "Why do you care? You're always working anyway." At home, the tension was thick. Silent dinners. Short replies. And me lying awake at night wondering if the woman I thought was the one was already halfway out the door. Then came the moment that broke me. Was on another late shift, scrolling Instagram during my break, when I saw her newest post. A meme. It said, "Never let a man think he's the prize." And the caption? "Facts." I felt my blood pressure spike. It wasn't even subtle anymore. She was openly mocking men, mocking me, to her entire follower list. And the comments? Her friends hyping her up. Other guys dropping fire emojis. One guy even wrote, "Preach, Queen raising hands." And her response? Finally, someone gets it face with tears of joy. I couldn't take it anymore. I called her, right there from the break room. She answered with music blasting in the background, clearly at a bar. "What's up?" she shouted. "What's up? Kayla, are you serious right now? What is this post about?" She groaned loudly, like I was ruining her night. "Oh my God, are we doing this again? It's a meme. Do you know how many people repost memes? You're obsessed." "No," I snapped. "I'm not obsessed. I'm your boyfriend. And I'm done sitting here while you humiliate me online." There was a pause. And then she dropped the line that still rings in my ears. "If you feel humiliated, that's on you. Maybe stop acting replaceable, and I wouldn't post stuff like that." That was it. That was the dagger. She was admitting it. Not even trying to hide it anymore. She was saying the quiet part out loud, that all of this was about me. That she was trying to make me feel small. I hung up. I couldn't even hear her voice anymore. And that night, sitting in the break room at 1 a.m., I felt something shift. For the first time since we met, I stopped feeling like the lucky one. And started realizing I might just be the stupid one, because love without respect isn't love at all. And Kayla? She wasn't respecting me. She was testing me. Pushing me. Maybe even preparing herself for life without me. But here's the thing about me, I don't play games. If you've got a problem, you say it. If you want out, you leave. But you don't get to drag me through the mud while pretending everything is fine, so I made a decision that night. I wasn't going to confront her in another pointless fight. I wasn't going to beg for respect she clearly didn't want to give, and no. I was going to start watching. Paying attention. Collecting the little pieces she thought I wasn't noticing. Because if she really believed I was replaceable, then maybe it was time I showed her just how wrong she was. Do you think I went too far here by starting to watch and gather proof? Or was this exactly the right move when someone keeps disrespecting you? I'm curious what side you're on. Because trust me, what I uncovered next. That's when things really got messy. After that phone call, after Kayla basically admitted her posts were aimed at me, I knew one thing for certain. I couldn't just sit back and hope things got better. Had been patient. I had been supportive. I had ignored red flags. And where had it gotten me? Sitting in a break room at 1 a.m., feeling like the butt of my own girlfriend's jokes, no more. That night, I stopped being the sensitive boyfriend she accused me of being, and started being the observer. I didn't announce it. I didn't confront her again. I just watched. Quietly. And the more I paid attention, the clearer the picture became. First, her phone. Now, I'm not the kind of guy who goes snooping through someone's messages, but I didn't have to. Notifications would pop up while we were sitting on the couch, and her whole body language would change. The smile. The quick tilt of the phone away from me. The subtle do not disturb mode she started using whenever I was around. Second, her friends. Whenever she went out, she claimed it was just the girls. But Instagram told a different story. Tagged photos at bars where guys were very much present. Comments from men that she conveniently never mentioned. And third, her posts themselves. They became a pattern. Not just one or two jokes, but a string of them. Each one a little more pointed, a little more targeted. Each one followed by likes and comments from people outside her girl group. At that point, I wasn't guessing anymore. I was connecting dots. But here's the part that really got me. One night, while she was in the shower, her phone buzzed on the counter. A preview popped up. A DM notification from one of the guys who had been commenting on her posts. The message read, "So when are you gonna let me show you what a real man does?" I froze. My heart sank. And then, my anger crystallized. Because here's the thing, whether she replied or not, she had created the space for that message. She had invited it with her posts, her comments, her exactly replies. That was my turning point. I didn't blow up. I didn't confront her then and there. Instead, I took a screenshot. Quietly. Carefully. I forwarded it to my own email. Then I locked her phone and walked away like nothing happened. From that moment on, I had a plan. I wasn't going to beg her to respect me. I wasn't going to argue circles with someone who thrived on making me look insecure, and no. I was going to build a case. A quiet, undeniable case, so that when the time came, when I finally walked away, there'd be no "you're just overreacting," no "you're paranoid." I'd have receipts. Proof. The truth in her own words and actions. Over the next 2 weeks, I kept gathering. Screenshots of her posts. Screenshots of the comments she entertained. Screenshots of her late-night likes on guys' pictures. And with each piece of evidence, my resolve hardened. See, Kayla thought she was in control. She thought she could make me jealous, keep me off balance, push me into begging for her attention. But what she didn't realize? The power was shifting. Every screenshot, every DM, every cryptic post she thought was harmless, was actually tightening the noose around her own games. And the best part? She had no idea. Because on the outside, I stayed calm. I stopped arguing. I stopped questioning her. When she'd post something shady, I wouldn't bring it up anymore. I'd just smile, nod, and quietly save it. And you know what? That made her sloppy. Because she thought I'd given up. She thought I was back to being the oblivious boyfriend who would tolerate anything. That's when she slipped. One night, she went out again. Said it was just girls' night. But the tagged photos told a different story. A group shot at a bar, men included, and there was Kayla, pressed a little too close to the same guy who had DM'd her. And the caption? Her friend wrote, "Our girl living her best life." I stared at that picture, and something inside me went cold. This wasn't my girlfriend anymore. This wasn't the woman I met in college, the one I thought I'd marry. This was someone else. Someone who thought humiliating me in public was a game. Someone who thought my hard work made me replaceable. Someone who wanted to test how much she could get away with before I broke. Well, guess what? I wasn't going to break. I was going to end it. But on my terms, so I set the stage. The next weekend, I told her I had a surprise date planned. Something special, since we hadn't done much together lately. She lit up excited, probably thinking I was finally trying harder. What she didn't know was that I wasn't planning a date. I was planning a reveal. I invited her over to my place early. I cooked dinner, poured wine, kept everything light. Then, after dessert, I pulled out my laptop. "Hey Kayla," I said casually. "I want to show you something." She looked confused, but curious. So I opened a folder on my desktop labeled "Irreplaceable Face with Tears of Joy." Her face drained the moment she saw the first screenshot. Her Instagram story. Her replies to comments. The DM preview. The tagged photo at the bar. One by one, I clicked through them. Slowly. Methodically. No yelling. No insults. Just facts. Receipts. Proof. Kayla's mouth opened, then closed. She started stammering. That's not what it looks like." I stopped her. Calm. Cold. "Kayla, don't insult me. This isn't one post. This isn't one joke. This is a pattern. And I'm done." For once, she didn't have a snarky comeback. For once, she wasn't laughing. And in that silence, I realized something powerful. I had all the control. She couldn't gaslight me anymore. She couldn't twist it. She couldn't call me insecure. Because I had the truth. And the truth was undeniable. Because trust me, the way this all played out, that final scene, it was something I'll never forget. The big dramatic release where everything comes crashing down. There's a certain silence that fills the room when someone realizes they've been caught red-handed. That's the silence I got from Kayla when I showed her the folder of screenshots. Her replaceable jokes, her replies to other men, her late-night likes, her bar photos. It was all laid out, lined up neatly like evidence in a courtroom. And for the first time in months, she had nothing to say to first. She tried the soft approach. Tears in her eyes. It wasn't serious. I was just messing around. "You know I love you." But I didn't budge. Because here's the truth. Love without respect is nothing. So then she shifted gears. "Why were you even saving this stuff? That's creepy. That's obsessive." I stayed calm. "No, Kayla. Creepy would have been breaking into your phone. Obsessive would have been checking your DMs every day. What I did was documenting the way you disrespected me in public over and over again. This isn't me being paranoid. This is me being done." Her face hardened. "So what, you're just gonna throw 3 years away? Over a couple posts?" And I looked her dead in the eye and said, "No. You threw 3 years away when you decided mocking me online was more fun than respecting me in real life." The silence that followed? That was the sound of the power shift being complete. I wasn't the insecure boyfriend anymore. I was the man walking away with his dignity intact. I grabbed my keys, stood up, and told her she needed to leave. She begged. She pleaded. At one point, she even got angry again, calling me weak for not being able to handle her humor. But I didn't flinch. I'd seen too much. Heard too much. And deep down, I knew this wasn't just about memes or jokes. It was about the fact that she enjoyed watching me squirm, so I let her yell. Let her cry. Let her pack up her things. And when the door finally closed behind her, I sat down in the quietest apartment I'd ever experienced, and felt a wave of relief. For the first time in months, I wasn't questioning myself. I wasn't overthinking cryptic posts. I wasn't wondering if I was enough. I knew my worth. And I knew she didn't deserve it. The next day, I made my own post. Not petty. Not direct. Just a picture of me at work, captioned, "A man who knows his worth can't be replaced." No emojis. No subtext. Just a quiet reminder to myself, and to anyone watching, that respect is non-negotiable. Funny enough, that post got more likes than anything I'd ever put up before. And the DMs I got? Messages from people saying they'd been through the same thing. That they wished they had walked away sooner. That sometimes the biggest power move isn't revenge, it's self-respect. And that was my payoff. Not humiliating her back. Not starting drama online. Just standing tall, reclaiming my dignity, and refusing to play her games anymore. Okay, real talk. Do you think Kayla deserved this ending? Or was I too extreme by cutting her off completely? Let's debate it in the comments, because I know people are going to have strong opinions on this one.